What do you want to da-da-da?
What do ya wanna da-da-da?
I have no idea what to da-da-da.
We could switch to Progressa da.
Oh, yeah?
We could switch to Progressa and sa.
Okay.
We could sa and have to buy some za.
Oh, yeah. Let's switch to Progressa to da and get some za with the money we saw.
Yeah.
Now we know we're gonna da-da-da.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. It might just be the most normal thing you da-to-da.
Quote to da at Progressa.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Yes, Sauber is on pole. The Sauber Formula One team is on pole. They're going to be the first team this season who will launch their 2017 Formula One racing car.
Woohoo! Kunal, I'm excited. A Sauber on pole hasn't happened in a long time.
I just can't remember when a Sauber was last on pole. And yes, by being the first to launch the new-looking car, Sauber should actually garner more publicity in one day than they did for all of the last couple of seasons. In fact, maybe all of this season as well. Who knows?
It is actually a fantastic PR strategy. Honestly, I don't think too many fans would have been too bothered about a Sauber if not for this.
And the unfortunate part is that the first 2017 car is going to be launched by two relatively or absolutely unknown drivers.
Ouch. Kunal, I'm wondering if they have sold sponsorship just for this one day, Sauber, that would be quite the masterstroke.
So that would mean that Formula One teams could actually go from a one-race sponsorship, and I remember Sauber had a one-race sponsorship for the Indian Grand Prix, to a one-day sponsorship. But honestly, I don't think times are that bad yet for Formula One teams.
Kunal, I'm not so sure. I think a certain Zach Brown is taking notes, very intensely.
But days could be bad for Juan Pablo Montoya. And that's because he claimed that Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso are probably the best drivers in Formula One. I wonder if the Hamilton fans have trolled him heavily already.
Ouch, and we know how that feels.
Somebody's going to try and hack into Juan Pablo Montoya's car's smart ECU someday for trolling
we
Hamilton.
feel for you, Juan Pablo. So guys, before we proceed with this week's episode of the Inside Line F1 podcast, a quick review of all the awesome stuff we have in store for y'all. So yes, we're going to talk about Juan Pablo Montoya again. And we're going to talk about Kunal, his views on European drivers and the Schumacher brothers. And we're going to also wonder why Nico Rosberg didn't do the bold pose at the Laureus Awards function. I need an answer.
Could Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton be the Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed of Formula One? And who'll hit a new low? Will it be Williams or will it be Mercedes?
And finally, was McLaren's new livery leaked online? My God. We're also going to talk about Fernando Alonso's cool emojis. Kunal, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really love them.
And also about what Kimi Raikkonen should name his karaoke bar in Helsinki. I'm looking forward to that discussion. Back to Juan Pablo Montoya. So he's had some pretty interesting insights from his interview. He said that European drivers are mentally weak. Ouch. I'm wondering if British drivers includes European drivers after Brexit, but okay. That's a strong statement.
But, that statement means that probably every single driver in Formula One at this moment is weak.
Apart from Rio Haryanto and Pastor Maldonado and
Sergio Perez, maybe. Yeah.
But that is such a typically Juan Pablo Montoya statement, so out there. And also so typical of him to leave out Michael Schumacher, when he made this entire comparison.
And surprisingly, he actually had good words about the other Schumacher, Ralph, too. He said beating Ralph was nearly impossible. And I really wonder if anyone has ever used this term for the younger Schumacher ever.
Never. Never, ever, I would imagine. By the way, Nico Rosberg thinks that Mercedes could be looking out for Sebastian Vettel in 2018.
Wow.
Kunal, I know we were hoping and praying for a Hamilton-Alonso rivalry this year. Unfortunately, that's not happened. But you know what? A Vettel-Hamilton rivalry next year is pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, I think that would mean the two best drivers in Formula One in an evenly matched car. And I think that's what we are always hoping for. The news
Carlos Sainz won't agree with you on that one, by the way, but okay.
So the news also is that Nico Rosberg wants to go back to being friends with Lewis Hamilton. And I think it's just easier for him to say so now because he's beaten Lewis. And that's my feeling.
There was this strange tweet that said that Nico Rosberg might end up managing Lewis Hamilton someday. I can't understand. That would be insane.
I wonder if Rosberg has those contacts in Hollywood to land music and acting, assignments for Lewis Hamilton. Either way, this reminds me, like we said at the start of the episode, of Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed. By the way, a website, LTM Motorsport, claims that British fans are fearing that Hamilton could quit Formula One once his contract with Mercedes ends this season. And I repeat, this is not us. We are not claiming that. It's a website called LTM Motorsport. I know I'm publicizing someone else's website, but you guys should go check this out.
Well, that would be really unfortunate because Formula One's loss would be Hollywood's gain. But honestly, Kunal, it just seems so unlikely to me. Lewis Hamilton is a celebrity because he's a Formula One driver, and we shouldn't forget that.
Yes.
Without Formula One, he has no credentials. And you know what? I'm sure he knows that.
Unless he becomes a pay musician or a pay actor where he pays for his own production or something to that effect. And he's anyway been posting pictures of him modeling for a men's cosmetics brand on social media handles.
And that's after having rolled in the mud. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, so moving on, Nico Rosberg's replacement, Valtteri Bottas, a very unpopular choice, has made a public declaration that he can beat Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes this year. Two things. First, I'm very happy that Bottas has said what every driver would say, including a Pastor Maldonado, if he were to be in the Mercedes as well. Second is that he believes that Mercedes will be a damn quick car this season. I don't know which one of them is more true, but...
I'm glad he has his PR machinery sorted out. Bottas also revealed that he had directly called Toto Wolff right upon hearing about Nico Rosberg's retirement. Honestly, I'm sure half the Formula One grid can make a similar confession.
What must have worked in Valtteri's favor is that he had Toto's direct number, while the others probably did not, because Toto anyways manages him, right?
Yeah, that made all the difference.
Either way, this is something that I read on Motorsport.com, one of our partner websites. And Charles Bradley, who's the editor of Motorsport.com, said that perhaps they should make it a rule that any future Formula One champion who retires at the top of his game or her game gets to choose his immediate successor. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Now that is a fantastic thought. Like, so awesome.
That's probably why Charles is the editor of Motorsport.com.
Hats off to you, man.
That would actually then mean that Fernando Alonso would have been or would be in Mercedes in 2017.
Damn it. I wish this was true. Nico Rosberg won the Breakthrough of the Year award at Laureus. Congratulations to him. Yes.
This is while Usain Bolt won the Sports Person of the Year award. Thankfully, it wasn't the other way around. I mean, I'm happy with Rosberg shocking us once.
Not twice. Everyone took a photograph with Bolt doing this Bolt pose. Except for Nico Rosberg.
I still can't figure why. He has his hand held up straight with the number one finger. Or with the finger being shown, which is known as the Sebastian Vettel finger.
I don't think that's what he was going for. So yes, it's time for our weekly roundup where we're going to talk about all the exciting, interesting, funny things that have been happening in the Formula One paddock. Starting with Paddy Lowe. Paddy Lowe has left Mercedes. And Kunal, does that mean that Mercedes will now hit their low now that Paddy Lowe is gone?
Or could it be that Williams will hit a new low? Carlos Sainz Jr., one of my favorite drivers, has said that Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton are like Formula One's Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Which would then mean, and I would like to ask Carlos at some point for the podcast, who is the Neymar of Formula One?
I hope we get him on our podcast soon to ask him that question. Toro Rosso will have a new livery this year. And Kunal, I really, really hope that theirs isn't orange, yellow, orange too. But, if it is that color, they'll just be the faster of the orange, yellow, orange cars. So...
Toro Rosso's team principal Franz Tost has said that Mercedes' engine design should be frozen. I think it's a very silly idea, but I think our idea is far more powerful. We should just give every single person Mercedes engines. When are they going to listen to us?
Why aren't they listening to us, yeah? So Danny Kivat does not have a new drive this season. But you know what, Kunal? He has a new girlfriend. Her name is Kelly Piquet and she's Nelson Piquet's daughter.
I wonder if Kivat would sit with Nelson's famous son ever and ask him, what did you think just before crashing out in Singapore? I wonder if that conversation can or will ever happen.
I'd like to get Danny Kivat on the podcast and ask him that question.
Moving on, Honda's radical approach towards the 2017 engine is a high risk, they say. Frankly, if they had stuck to the 2016 engine, they'd have been at a higher risk in losing Fernando Alonso. So I'm glad they're taking another risk or a higher risk.
Losing McLaren altogether, yeah? But if I were McLaren, I would be working overtime to ensure that I give Fernando Alonso a fast car. Obviously, because he's a super fast driver. But Kunal, his neck is as broad as a middleweight boxer.
Yeah, and he anyway looks scary with all that facial hair when he wants to.
How strong is he, man?
Fernando Alonso launched his own emojis. And I think that's really cool. Probably the first for a Formula One team or a driver, I think. They're pretty awesome. I've just installed them on my phone earlier today.
Is there a deck chair emoji? No?
There probably is one of him pushing the car on the track.
Ouch.
But guess what? None of the emojis have sponsored logos. Now, I wonder if this is because McLaren at this moment have no or very few sponsors, or is this a loophole in the sponsors' contracts? Isn't that cool?
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Imagine them having an emoji sponsor. It's almost as funny as a one-day sponsor.
But isn't that awesome? I think Zach Brown better be making notes while listening to us. And McLaren's livery photos could have been leaked by their agency. And I don't know when will things stop going wrong for McLaren.
Ouch. So technically McLaren is on pole, Kunal. Not Sauber. This
Finally.
is all a conspiracy, I tell you. So Mercedes, Renault and McLaren all fired up their 2017 engines.
Wait, I'm going to call them powertrains because they don't necessarily sound like engines. And they seem like electrical noise to me.
But I guess, one step closer to the season and all of that. Did you notice there was this odd sound towards the end of McLaren's clip? And I was wondering if that was the sound of the Honda engine blowing up.
So Pirelli, the sport's official tire supplier, they have said that they are not going to take any blame if 2017 will be boring. And this is with reference to them finally producing durable tires. Okay. And I think they're just playing extremely smart and covering their asses already. And like I've said before, they've marketed 2017 so heavily to us. They're all probably now revealing the truth.
By the way, the tires are going to be heavier in 2017, and that could mean slower pit stops. Now, I'm sure one team that's not going to be very happy about this is Williams, since they have this spotless record for
Yeah, they had the distinction of the fastest pit stops in 2016.
So now they'll have to figure out how to do slower, faster pit stops.
The fun news of the week was that Kimi Raikkonen has opened or is going to open a karaoke bar in Helsinki. I would really hope that he names his bar Bois.
Bois. I'm wondering a drunk person saying bois.
By the way, our Facebook page, and you should totally go subscribe to us, has a video of Kimi Raikkonen doing the karaoke in a song we absolutely could not understand.
Bois. Well, I'm just surprised that he opened a karaoke bar and not, a bar that we'd imagine Kimi Raikkonen opening. Though along with the Finnish Grand Prix, we spoke about that in our last podcast, this is going to be one hell of a tourist attraction. Kunal, let's go.
I wonder at what bar are Kimi Raikkonen's tires filled at? Are they at a separate bar or something? I don't know. But anyway, bad joke. Bad motorsport joke. Or maybe not, but okay. So we're going to end this week's episode with a very good comment from Lucian, one of our favorite listeners. He had a comment, on the podcast we recorded last week on Ferrari and Formula E. And he said that aero is for people who cannot build engines. So batteries must apply too. Thank you so much, Lucian. We love having your comments. And on that note, guys, remember to subscribe to us on iTunes and on Audio Boom. And we look forward to seeing you next week when we'll be in the thick of Formula One action. Stay tuned.
This podcast is brought to you by Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce. A great sauce starts with the best ingredients. Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce is that great sauce. Inspired by our founder's original recipe, Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce is made with delicious ingredients, including vine-ripened tomatoes, chopped onions, garlic, and olive oil, simmered together for the authentic taste you and your family will want to come back to. For recipes, sauces, and mealtime inspiration, visit ragu.com.